I am here with Joe from Impromptu Games. We're here for his game InFlux. First of all, look, can you tell me a little bit about the story of Impromptu Games? I understand that you're a local developer?
Yeah, I am, but we're really just a bunch of guys on the internet. I'm based in Melbourne. We've got guys in Illinois. Jorn over there came all the way from the Netherlands. We started out as a mod team on the Penny Arcade forums, actually. I just made a thread one day called Who Wants to Make a Mod, and we made a crazy Half-Life 2 mod called Shotgun Sunrise, which is a co-op zombie western. And since then we've done an iOS game, and this is our latest thing. We've been working on it for 2 years. It's coming out on Tuesday on GOG.com and Amazon.
With the story of InFlux as a game, I mean, how did it really begin as a concept, as an idea? Would you call it a brainchild of your own, or was it something bigger for the team?
It came out of me, I guess, but originally as the result of a couple of experiments I was doing in trying to learn UDK. I'm not a programmer, but I was trying to learn Unreal Script, and the first thing I did was make a ball roll around, and simultaneously, for some other game I don't even remember, I was making rooms rotate. And when I put them together, I was like, oh, this could be a puzzle game, and then it got crazily out of hand.
Tell us about the graphics team that you have on board, and what sort of challenges do you have? I noticed it's got a very distinct style. We've got the lush outdoor environments on the one hand. You've got the indoor sort of environments too, with the puzzly elements as well. So tell us a bit more about the graphics.
I do some art, but then there's a few guys in the States mostly who do the art. There was and a few contractors more recently, since we got Film Victoria funding last year. The entire game was originally just these glasshouse puzzles, and so it was just one puzzle after another. But there was a lot of puzzle fatigue that you got. It's like in Portal, you don't play for the test chambers as such. You really, what's keeping you going is GLaDOS making jokes in the middle. So I added this natural environment hub world in between, which immediately just set off a bunch of responses in players that were just, they could play like 15 puzzles now and not really get tired of it. And now it's gotten out of hand, as I say, for the third time, and now there's actually more overworld than puzzle. We use the Unreal Engine, so the art has been, a lot of it sort of takes care of itself to a point. There's not that many actual individual art assets in the game. There's some rocks, there's some trees, there's foliage, but it's a great engine.
And yet it comes off, as I say, very fantastic looking. Now, look, I've got to say, it's a very busy booth. I've seen a lot of interest in people coming to look at it. Now, what has been the general impression that you've, and the feedback that you've been getting from the public looking at here at PAX?
It's really good. It's been really good, and that's good to hear, actually, because I haven't been to any of the other booths. We've got 3 PCs here playing it, the entire game, and they've pretty much been occupied the entire time. There's not been an empty chair for more than 10 seconds. It's good because the game is almost done, so I'm glad nothing's broken,
Oh, that's fantastic. And I mean, look, I guess an ego boost always never goes astray. So, look, I've got to say that from when I was playing it myself, I could hear some of the guys on your team talking about the different ways that people were playing the game. For example, I turned back after pushing some boulders all the way down a big long mountain towards the end, and I said, look, am I supposed to be doing this? To which the answer was, well, you don't have to, but you can if you want to. We've had a guy who's dragged boulders across the whole game. I mean, what are sort of the ways that people interact with it differently, and does that change the way you see the game moving forward in the future?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of stuff like that. There is the guy who had the companion boulder that he just brought for the entire time. I was not sure even if it was going to work, because I just never thought to do that. Anytime we find something, someone's playing the game in an unexpected way, we leave it in there if we can, and maybe we reinforce that. It's also an element of the narrative. It's not a story-heavy game, it's a puzzle game, but there are events that happen, and they happen as a result of your being in this world. There's an element of a native populace who are just not there. There are empty villages around. When somebody plays through it, I often ask them afterwards what they thought that game was about, and they give me crazy philosophical answers, that most of which I hadn't thought of. Crazy interpretations of the game, what is the ball? One guy is like, well, clearly it's an artificial intelligence, and this guy's like, obviously it's an extraterrestrial, otherwise the rest of the plot wouldn't make sense, And when we were making the game, I would just, write those down, reinforce them if I could, and just make sure I didn't contradict any of them. And now I have an idea of how I think the story goes for the game, but I don't know if it's even correct. I don't know if it's more legitimate than those of the players.
Well, you are the puppet master to one sense, and I think a bit of mystery always is quite nice, and it's really good that you kind of get that feedback, kind of thing, that fan interaction in terms of really entrenching and developing and letting them have some ownership as well. I mean, there's a lot of interpretation involved there. But I move on a little bit. You actually really led on to one of the things I was very interested in, but to move on, I guess, away from what the interpretations people have, purely from a public relations and getting the game out there. What sort of experience have you had with InFlux, with other titles, and in terms of getting it out there? I mean, Penny Arcade, I guess, is one of the great areas and forums to get it out there for people to see. But do you have plans and challenges that you've come across or that you expect in the future?
Marketing in general is hard, and I probably wouldn't say I'm particularly good at it. I'm not a hugely outgoing person, and I keep having to send, yelling emails at the press. Not really yelling, but hey, you want to talk about my game? They don't. There's no reply. I have to keep on sending an email. I feel like an asshole. Steam Greenlight is really a good marketing tool, even just because if you're directing all your traffic there, you can tell exactly what's being useful to you. It's not good as a tool to get on Steam, but it works for that.
We're very impressed by the game. We'd love to see where it's going, and I really encourage the community to get out there and give it a try. Is there anything else you'd like to leave off before we wrap it up?
I guess just that it's on Steam Greenlight. You can go vote for it. It's coming out on Tuesday, 23rd of July, on GOG and Amazon, and possibly Humble Store. And you should check it out.